Well, wonderful to have so many folks here. Dear champions, I want to thank you for all what you do. Today, we're gathered to celebrate and also share our unwavering dedication to the transformative projects that you have been doing. It's
But
all
Chintan just joined. Sorry.
Chintan just joined. Go ahead, Chintan. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Jai Jain in there. I'm Chintan Shah, former co-chair of LRP. Looking forward to hearing a little bit about the status of the project. So nice to see everybody.
Absolutely. So, as I was saying, some of the initiatives that you have taken, champions, they have been transformative. And we have taken those principles from four core E's: energize, educate, expand, and evolve. We want to energize and revitalize our Jain organizations. We want to educate and spread awareness of Jain principles. We want to expand and broaden and adoption of Jain practices, and we want to evolve the Jain way of life. And we have had a huge impact. I just want to share with you, just in a few minutes, what all that we have been able to accomplish and what we have been doing as well over this period of time. If you see our Jain Leadership site, I hope you go to jainleadership.org. You will go to see projects, and you will see projects for 2024. And in the site, I hope you can see my screen. Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And you can see your name, yeah, and the projects that have all been developed. You'll see our process that you have gone through to develop this and the organizational meeting that have made all this possible. These projects have now been taken to the next step by each and every one of you. And this is how Vitika, myself, Viral Bhai, and all have been tracking the work. We look at each project, they're in different categories. There's the name of the champions, the organization, the title of the project, the funding, and each one has a different color attached to it. Green means it's moving ahead. Yellow is not moving. Red is that it's even merged or moved to others. And then every time Vitika calls you or Pragati calls you or I call you, we keep a track of the milestones. So let's take each example of the projects that, for example, we look at a project with Dilip Bhai, and we can see what that progress was. It was a Jaina Digest project. The aim was to increase the readership. And you can click here and we can see his PDSA cycle, what his whole process was, as well as the run charts, and then what actual happened over time and where the challenges were and so forth. Like this, each one of the projects is being tracked and followed. And then we're able to assign green, yellow, and red. Champions, this is not to evaluate you, but to help out each and every one of you. With that, I'm going to pause and have Viral Bhai say a few words. He has been part of the group who has been working with each one of you in tracking this. And then we'll go right into the projects and what their status is. We'll ask you to speak for only 5 minutes, have a minute or two of questions. This is a time to share the progress you have made, the challenges you're facing, and then prepare for presenting your projects for our March meeting. We have our projects will be presented, and we'll have new projects coming on for the 2025 Jain Leadership Meeting in a similar way. And all of this is on the website. So over to you, Viral Bhai.
Absolutely. Thank you all, Jai Jirendra. First of all, I would like to say I'm incredibly happy and proud that, our project team, every one of you have done tremendous job. And now we are here and progressing very well. I'm grateful for my great team here under Manoj's guidance and vision, right? And my team in India, everybody have been working incredibly well. And so thank you for that. I have worked for many of you, like, I see Roshi Ben, Shefali ji, Sunny, right, Jaina Ben, and many of you actually we have worked for different things. So I'm really, again, really grateful we are here. Without further ado, I would turn it over to our team. I think everyone knows the rule, 5 minutes, and one of us will call out, just give maybe a 1 minute kind of warning so that you are aware. And most importantly here, as Manojji mentioned, please let us know if you need any help, if you are stuck somewhere, or somehow we can work together to get things done. So that is more important than, this is not about tracking and evaluating any one of you. Thank you so much.
Great. Super. So, Sunny, let's begin with you, and then we have Nirva, then Anish, and then Yogen Bhai, and then we've got a whole bunch of other folks. But Sunny, let's begin with you, and your 5 minutes begin now. Go ahead.
Sorry, one moment. Let me just try to share this. Okay, absolutely. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we are.
Wonderful. All right, Jain and everyone. Thank you all for the opportunity. I'll be as quick as I can. This project is expanding vegan choices in North American derasers. In this presentation, I just want to quickly share the problem statement and then the progress we made so far. So as part of this project, we've done some, very comprehensive research and market analysis on the amount of dairy consumption that we are using in North American derasers. From our analysis, we found that derasers in North America are consuming about 2,300 gallons of cow milk every month. As we know, modern dairy consumption perpetuates animal cruelty towards cows, causes environmental devastation, and is also causing community health problems. So as part of this project, we are looking to provide public education and reduce cow dairy use and expand choices at partner derasers to better align our food offerings and practices with Jain values. How are we doing this? We've identified 3 outcome measures. One would be the number of partner derasers that we'll be working with, and beginning to introduce plant-based options, the beginning of original resources that will be developed, and measuring the number as well as the effectiveness of it. And then finally, the number of educational events. So these are our clear metrics on how we will be reaching our goals. One great update we're happy to share is we've broadly expanded our team. So this is now our new project team. We've added 7 new people to help us reach our goals. And just, not to go into every person, but you will see that there are many different faces, ages, geographic regions, and really just showcases how we are all aligned on this goal. So really great to introduce this team. In our last project update, there was a roadblock, a bottleneck of getting funding issue from the Jain Society of Houston. We're pleased to share that after a lot of work, we have now gotten approval for this from JSH. I want to thank the administrators and Virology. This was a huge thing, and this timeline just shows how long it took to really get that. And so we went, to the JSH Board of Trustees and finally got that approval. Next steps being we're going to connect with the JLF team regarding fund disbursement and more the logistics of how we get the budgeting improved. A few great achievements we just want to call out. The first one is Jaina endorsed the plant-based treaty. This was a huge initiative for us. We actually presented in front of the Jaina EC about what the plant-based treaty is and why Jaina should endorse it. And just really quickly, the plant-based treaty is a global initiative which addresses climate change by transitioning to a plant-based food system. So this is partially already what Jain's do, but formally endorsing it was a huge thing. So with this achievement, we will be moving forward with marketing and really just showcasing to the world why this matters. Another thing really quickly is a lot of work we're doing with the Jaina Convention 2025. We've promoted plant-based Jain speakers, including Lalitha Kapoor, Dr. Tushar Mehta, and really trying to ensure that this is being represented at our Jaina Convention. Furthermore, we found that there's a booth opportunity cost or booth opportunity to have a booth at Jaina Convention. We found that Jaina Convention is the largest gathering of Jains in North America, and just in terms of awareness, engagement, this will be a huge opportunity for us. So we're currently exploring this opportunity and how we can create impact. Finally, we're continuing to improve our vegan Pajushan cookbook. This was introduced in 2023, showing Jains that you can be vegan during Pajushan. And we've, in 2024, we digitalized this book. And now in 2025, we are working to just expand this to just Jain vegan recipes in general. So this will be a huge public community resource, which is free and public for everyone to use. Finally, we've introduced Jain academic courses in collaboration with Arihanta Institute, which has been huge because we're beginning to impact the Jain space in that way. With that, I'll end it there. Thank you.
Excellent. We still have about 2-3 minutes. Comments, thoughts from team. Great work. I will begin by asking you this, Sunny. Expanding choices at Derasers. What are your next steps in there? And which centers are you piloting? And how can the group here help you further in that mission? Yeah, go ahead, unmute yourself, Sunny. You're still muted. Can you hear us?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think it was a technical issue. I wasn't able to unmute for some reason. But yes, so what we have done is we've identified 3 Derasers that we'll be working towards: the Jain Society of Houston, the Jain Center of Denver, and then the Jain Center of Greater Boston. And what we have done is we have expanded our project team to begin making those initial point of contacts with these Derasers. And so, of course, this is quite a large endeavor, which will require the endorsement and support from our whole Jain community, as we're not, in these locations. And so the way that we can get support is if you're interested in being a part of this project, if you can reach out. What we'll be doing is initiating conversation with Jain Derasa leaders, which we've already started. Begin thinking about what are like the unique challenges and roadblocks in each individual Deraser, and how can we move forward? So creating a actionable timeline and next steps on how we can achieve this.
Great. Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments for Sunny? You can.
Sorry, I have one question, Sunny. What challenges are you facing in terms of convincing the Jain centers to go vegan?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is just public awareness. And so I think there's still a lot of unawareness about how modern dairy and modern animal agriculture harms and exploits animals. And so there's a lot of conversation regarding education. Some of the roadblocks is regarding tradition. This is how we've always done it. Is this healthy? And so these are all conversations that we have information for. It's really just a quick Google search to be able to find this information. But what we want to do is expand that public education. So part of our work is having these webinars, having these educational workshops, just building our awareness. Once we just plant that seed of awareness, it takes time for change. And so we want to make sure that we're that driving force that keeps it going.
Great.
Minaji's hand is up.
Yeah, Minaji, go ahead.
Yes, Sunny, I just had a question. If you all have published a commercial recipe book, because what happens with the Jain centers, when you do this, individual recipes is good enough for home, but what about the Jain centers? They need quantity. And have you ventured into that?
Yeah, that's such a good idea. Yeah, so when we created this cookbook, we had originally sourced it from the global community. So we tried to reach as many ages and regions to provide individual resources. The next step we decided is, like you said, something that's easy to cater, so it's cater friendly. And one source that we thought right away is connecting with YJA. YJA had a formal Jain vegan convention, the YJA convention of 2022, as well as the YJA convention of 2024, where they catered to thousands of Jains, and they were able to do so in a Jain vegan capacity. And so working with them, maybe sourcing those recipes first, and because we found that it's measurable and it can be emulated, and then expanding that outward. So that is definitely something that's on our mind. Yeah.
Yeah, and in Northern California, Mr. Turakia, he has quite a few recipes because Northern California does serve in quantities. So just wanted to let you know if you wanted to reach him out.
Great.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, Praveenji has done, great, incredible work. And we've actually worked with them for a lot of those recipes. So I think this is a great idea. Thank you.
And just quick comment on Minaji's mentioned something about, so if you have received the Jaina calendar, this year actually, Sunny, we have partnered to publish your recipe book into calendar. There is a QR code on the second page under the spotlight section. So that entire cookbook that Sunny and team have, worked together is part of that Jaina calendar as well.
Great. And then I know Nirva, you've got a comment there, but you're presenting next, so we're gonna let you begin with a comment and then begin your presentation. But I want to just recognize a couple of people who've joined in after we did introductions. Ellen, do you want to just introduce yourself really quickly to the group and unmute? And
Oh, hi,
yeah.
sure. Thanks for inviting me here. Hi, my name's Ellen Goff, and I'm an associate professor of Jainism at Emory University. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, great. And Pallavi, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Yeah. I'm Pallavi Jain, and I'm based at Boston. I am with JCGB, Jain Center of Greater Boston, and I'm Center Director at Code Ninjas. It's a kids coding education, and we are working on one initiative which Yogenji and Manoj will be talking about, which is related to essence of Jainism. Thank you.
And I think Atul, you didn't get a chance to introduce. Go ahead.
I am unfortunately able to start my video. Seems to be some
Okay.
issue. I'll have to log out and log back in. But I mean, yeah, I just joined. I mean, this is my first session. I joined. I think Viral Bhai suggested me to join this session. I recently assumed the responsibility of a director of sports at YJP, and probably there are some prospects in terms of what we can create in terms of the reaching out to the larger community and how we can actually make an impact. So just taking a feel of what kind of projects are being incubated, and probably maybe I may be able to contribute as well for the larger projects.
Okay, great. Am I missed anyone else who just came in late?
Kinjal.
Kinjal? Yes, there you are.
Manoj bhai, my video is not able to open. It's saying like some, I'm not, like host has like
Disable the video. Okay,
some.
I'll let Pragati and Vitika, can you see why the video for others not working? Okay, we'll work on it. Kinjal, go ahead,
Yeah.
and then, yeah.
Jai
Introduce-
Jindra, my name is Kinjal Muta, and I am a member of LRP, work with Dr. Jain and Viral Bhai and Prem Bhai and everybody else. So I'll be presenting a project as well on behalf of LRP. So I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you.
Okay, anyone I missed? Great.
Pratiksha ji, Manoj ji, Pratiksha ji.
Okay, yeah. Pratiksha ji, go ahead, introduce yourself. You're on mute. Can you unmute? No, you're not able to unmute.
Yeah,
Okay.
now it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jai Jain everyone. My name is Pratiksha Singhai and I'm associated with JCNC. And we are working on the supplement books for the Pathshala, Jana Pramanik books. And I'm associated with Pramanik Pathshala and we run a online Pathshala. And we are going to present a project, but looking forward to learn about all the new projects with Jana.
Great. All right, over to you, Nirva. And yeah, I know you had a comment and your 5 minutes begin now. Thank you.
And I'm trying to share my, Okay, I'm unable to share this document. So
Okay.
I don't know, Vitika, I sent it to you. I don't know if it's possible for you to share my slides.
All right. Why don't you go
Yeah,
ahead
sure.
and you work on it?
Okay, in the meantime, I can just start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, hi everyone, Jai Janendra. My name is Nirva Kapasi Patel. I grew up in Boston. I'm still in Boston. I work at Harvard Law School. And I work in the Animal Law and Policy program as an executive director, and I work in the Animal Law and Policy Clinic as a clinical instructor. And the project I'd like to talk to all of you about today, in which I presented last week with Deepak Jain, is a project about plant-based meals in the National School Lunch Plan. So To give you a bit of background, in the United States, we have a federally funded program. Oh, great. Those are my slides. So we can go to slide 2. We have a federally funded program called the National School Lunch Plan that promises to every single student who attends public school a free lunch or a subsidized low-cost free lunch. Some schools also provide breakfast, snacks, cookies, and home economics. The problem is, this is a great program. It works for many students in America, but the problem is for Jain students who follow a vegan or a vegetarian diet based on our principles of ahimsa, this National School Lunch Plan does not always work for our students. In fact, many people don't even know what Jainism is. They don't know that the religion is connected to the diet in school. So I'm working with Harvard Law School to, we have 2 professors, we have a group of 8 students. We're in the 2nd semester right now of research, analysis, learning from the Jain community about their experiences, about the students' experiences in school, about the parents' experiences making lunch for kids every morning, from students who are starving at school, who can't participate in after-school sports because they don't have the nutritional equivalent of what their classmates have. So we're understanding the community needs. We're engaging in a lot of outreach right now with the hopes to petition the United States Department of Agriculture to amend their rules to take into consideration the religious needs of Jain students, and in fact, all dharmic students who follow a diet that's void of animal products. All right, we can go to the 2nd slide. So we started with the Jain Center in Norwood, and with the help of Yogen Bai, and we circulated, I think, 100 surveys. We visited the temple and we got a ton of feedback. There were students who said, they have to bring a lunch every single day. Their non-Jain classmates don't have to do that. There were students who say that it's the same food every single day. It's the salad bar. But when you go to the salad bar, the meat is spilling over into the food. So they just don't even eat. So they have a really big breakfast, a really big dinner, but they can never expect to eat lunch at school. So for the 1st semester, we completed a bunch of outreach. The 2nd semester, which is about to begin on Monday, we are going to continue outreach, and now we're going to start drafting our petition. So we're looking into the legal landscape. We're looking into the genesis of the National School Lunch Plan. In fact, what we found was religion was initially part of a consideration that was written into the code and then was taken out. In the 40 years that the National School Lunch Plan has been in existence, religion has been taken out and it has been replaced with dietary preferences. Now, religious diet is not the same as preferences because it's not really a choice to not eat. It is a choice, but there's a religious connection to the food. When a Jain student looks at food, they look at what is the violence.
About 1 minute left.
Look, what's the violence in the food? Okay, we're moving to the next slide. So this kind of gives you a little bit of a roadmap for what we plan to do this semester. We're doing a lot of research. We're doing a menu analysis. And actually, let's go to the next slide. No, we can stay on this slide. So we would love everyone's help here. I know I heard people here are leaders at YJA, at Jaina, at the various Jain centers. There are certain Jain centers we would love to speak to and circulate some surveys and work with them to understand the experiences of students at the Jain centers and at their public schools. So we can use their data. It can all be anonymous, but we'd like to use their data, their interviews for our petition. So I guess when we look at the challenges and risks, if our petition is denied by the USDA, we will still build a toolkit, like a pamphlet, to give to students, to parents, for them to advocate with their school administrators, for them to advocate in their communities, to have that dialogue that, what is Jainism? Why do we eat this way? Why do we have a nonviolent menu? And for them to also know their rights. So we plan both of those, and then we will, hopefully work on other publicly funded institutions like government buildings and other places as well. So thank you. I really appreciate your time.
Great. Thank you so much, Nirva. Any comments or questions for Nirva? Great job.
Yeah, Manoj Bhai, this is Chintan. I do have a comment. Nice to hear the talk. There is actually a group in Milwaukee that's a large group of 10 or 15 people that last time also presented a similar concept. They're working at the local level to advocate for plant-based foods. And it's a Jain group that's finding some supportive allies, if you will, among other religious groups as well as other kind of dietary preference groups. They're working more at the grassroots level to try to get a few wins where they can get sponsored meals, or at least meals that are offered at the local level at certain school districts. I think it would be great to put you guys in touch and see if there's some overlap. The second quick question I had for you is, with the new administration in, for whatever the politics might be, would RFK Jr. actually be an advocate of this? I feel like based on a lot of what he said, this might be something that actually aligns really closely with some of what he has.
Yeah, we're hoping that that's the case, and that we'll see. But it's really interesting because when religion was, so they put in these new they amended the Biden administration actually amended these regulations to allow for meat and dairy substitutes into the meal plan. So that was a great win, that they've already made the case that you can substitute meat and dairy with other equivalents and still have the nutritional balance that's required by the National School Lunch Plan. But I think when it comes to religion, there's kind of like this protective bubble. Like, you don't even have to talk about health and environment because religion is so strong. There's constitutional protection. So we feel that this is probably the strongest case to advocate for plant-based meals at the USDA level.
Great.
Wonderful. And Chintan, to your point, we actually merged the program from Wisconsin with Nirva's work as well. So those two projects have merged, and we working collaboratively on that. So
Manoj,
Just have one question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'll
Go ahead,
make my
Prem bhai.
comment.
Manoj, I have one question.
Yeah, please.
Nirva, is it possible to work with the Jewish community and partner with them? Because I'm pretty sure they would like to have the Jewish food also. And they have a
Yes.
biggest lobby possible.
Yes. So in fact, we can learn from the Jewish and Muslim communities because they do have, the USDA has directives on kosher and halal food. In fact, the dharmic communities have not actually approached the USDA yet. So this would be kind of a first in kind. So we can learn from those communities. But when we spoke to the religious freedom professor at Harvard Law School, he said, it's really important that we focus on the Jain community because they're a minority group. So they don't have the representation that many other groups have. So it's extremely powerful to represent a group like the Jain community. And then, yes, work with our other allies. But I think the principle would be focused on the doctrine of ahimsa and why that's unique to the diet.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're great.
Now we'll go to Anish. Anish, if you're on.
Nira, I'll post my question later on in the interest of time.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nirva. Great job. And yeah, shall we go? Is Anish on or no? If not, then
Yeah,
Yogen bhai.
I'm on. Yeah.
You are. There you go. Go ahead, Anish. Yeah. So you're going to present about your work on Jain GPT. Yes, great. And your 5 minutes begin now.
Begins now.
Okay, hi everyone. Jajendra. So previously, my project was about mass translation of Jain literature. And that happened with AI, and we were able to generate annotations for many of the Jain scriptures, as you'll see. But we needed to pivot to just create a better version of Jain GPT, because I think that would be more impactful for the average person. So the work of the translation processing was done in this GitHub repo, JLore. And you can see here that we provided open source of all the Jain scriptures from Digambar and Shwetambar and many others also. But the only problem with this is that when we translated it, for number one, it's AI generated, so it's not verified for the most part. And that's a really big issue because people need to verify it. But verifying it would require upadhyayas and scholars to look at it, which is definitely like more time consuming. And so as of right now, I've paused this project to just include it as a suggestion while you're reading the text. So it just shows up on the sidebar where you can see the real page text and the annotated AI generated text. Similar to how like Google Translate works in the exact same manner. So yeah, I have basically paused this and pivoted now the project to JaneGPT 2.0. And I can show you that here. So basically the current JaneGPT version is only doing semantic search. So that means if you ask a question, it is just going to pull up pages, like, and it won't actually give you a real natural language or like a response to the question. So it's not a real chatbot. And it's not very useful if you do not know exactly where to look or what to ask. So instead, I worked on a prototype for the 2.0 version. So like this is just using a knowledge base of a lot of different books. So if we ask a really natural language question, if I'm feeling sleepy during a pravachan, what karma is that?
Very interesting.
And let's see what happens when I ask Jane GPT. So yeah, so
very nice.
Able to see the question.
Yeah, we can see
Yeah,
that.
it's Mohaniya Karm. It's really nice.
That's really good.
Yep.
Yeah, so great.
Oh, there you go. So the question's now here.
Yeah, it came.
Okay, so it says here Monia karma.
Yeah.
That may or may not be correct. I think Darshana Varna karma may be the actual version. But now if I follow up on this and say what are the subdivisions of that karma?
Okay.
Okay, and it brings up some of these subdivisions.
We have about 1 minute left.
And I think let me just try to refresh this again. So one of the improvements to this is it also shows the exact files of where it got the information. So if I ask just generally, what is Samyak Darshan? Okay, so here you can see that while it's generating, it's also able to pull up the exact file. So this came from the job manual, the like one. Then the reference of number two came from the handbook of genealogy. And then another book for 6. So right here. So that's a really big improvement that would be better um as it's implemented. And of course, there's a lot of like refining to do. This is still a prototype. So that's basically JaneGPT 2.0. There are a lot of issues with this. It has to be optimized for mass usage. It has to be cost friendly because you don't want people spamming requests. And yeah, there's many things that need to be done in order for it to actually go on the website.
Excellent. Great.
Good
Great
job,
work.
Anish.
Any
Yep.
questions for Anish? And while you may be thinking of it, just very quickly, I'll say we have three types of projects that you will be seeing. One is a developmental project, which means it develops a new product or something novel. And that is what Anish did. Second type of project is an innovation project or doing some type of activity that may be innovative or something new, like volunteerism in a Jain temple and getting some activity done. The third is a scale-up project where something is going very well and we want to scale it up to many other temples. So three types of projects are there. This was an example of developmental project. Thanks, Anish. Great
Anish,
work.
we can connect offline, but I can help you. I work for Microsoft, and my day-to-day job is helping customers with AI projects and all that. So let me know if you're running into any challenge. I'm here to help.
Wonderful. Next, I'll ask Yogen Bhai to present his project, and then I think after that we'll have Varun present his project. So over to you, Yogen Bhai, and your Boston team.
So thank you very much. Wanted to acknowledge several of our team members. Nishi and Pallavi and Amaya are online in this call, and we are trying to solve the problem that if someone asks you, what is Jainism, instead of you hesitating or trying to pick the right words, you can say that in a very natural way, not just to other Jains, not just to other Indians, but to non-Jains, non-Indians as well. If you go to any of our Jain centers, if you go to any of the Tirthastans in India, there's zero signage on what is Jainism, the core Jain principles. And we would like to see this branding of Jainism globally. I can talk a lot about the specifics, but let me start with what we've already accomplished as a team and what our plans are. So we've already developed an essence of Jainism message and branding content. I'll share that with you briefly. We have a video, an 8-minute video that we've developed, and we will also develop a 3-minute video. Website has been done and presentations are in place. We've developed a survey. We've been working on this essence of Jainism for probably 15 years now, and we've tried it in many, many different people. We've done a lot of research, we've talked to a lot of people, and we're fine-tuning it further. So we've already done these things over the past 6 months, and we'll be launching a survey. A lot of you will get those surveys as well to give you feedback on the branding. We are presenting to the Jain Center Greater Boston Executive Committee. We waited for the new committee to come online. Tomorrow, we present to Memphis and Chicago. These are the 3 pilots we will do initially. We'll get feedback from them. We'll retune our message. And we've been asked to pull together a $1 million launch plan in the future. We haven't got the funding. It's going to be a much larger team that'll execute this, but we'll put a plan together. And then we want to see physical signage getting installed in multiple Jain centers throughout this year. And so let me take a moment just very quickly to pass through what these messages are. So first is a tagline. We would like to see the tagline to be live and help live for many reasons. And the word help is so much aligned with Parasparo Pagraho Jivanam. And instead of saying live and let live, which let sounds a little bit more condescending. A one-liner, right? On one line on what is Jainism. So take a moment to read this. Okay. This is what a person in today's age will understand and not get confused by any of the terminology. And then the essence of Jainism, you may have seen this before, the triple A's, Ahimsa, Anikantvad, and Aparigraha. And the message is really simple. It's a religion and a way of life. We have 3 core principles: non-violence, non-absolute, non-possessiveness. If we do this, it'll we'll be able to manage our anger, ego, greed, deceit. And if we do that, not only will we be happy, people around us and this world will be a more compassionate, peaceful, and joyful place. Nothing in here that an average non-Indian person cannot understand. And most people, when they see this, they say, oh my God, I believe in this too, right? So this is the essence of Jainism. And we would like to propose a change in logo as well. And a survey tool will be coming to you because we do want to get your feedback on some of these branding initiatives that we would like to propose and roll out very soon.
Okay, wonderful. Great. Comments, questions, and if you want to show the 30-second video at the start of the video, you can, as if there's any questions and comments, you can see the first 30 seconds of that video. If you're sharing, just share with the sound.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't prepared for that, but I could bring it on. It'll take me a minute. But I just want to share with you, we did focus groups at our Jain Center Greater Boston, the Jain Youth Exchange Program students that came from India. They gave great feedback as well. And we've developed an 8-minute video. It took us a while to do that, but thanks to Ritika and Pragati, who've been a huge help. And without them, we would not be able to make so much progress. So I would encourage you guys to take advantage of their talent as long as they can continue supporting us.
Great. Thank you so much. And then we'll go next to Varun Gandhi.
Wait, any questions? Any questions? Or we don't have time for that?
Yeah, I don't think we have time for that. We'll move
on.
Okay, so Jain Center of Southern California, great job, Yogen Bhai and team, on your idea. Varun Bhai, are you there? Yes.
Yes, Tejavendra, I'm here.
Say your name. Yes, go ahead.
All right. So I don't have a presentation. The project that I'm working on is feeding meals to people that are in need, the hungry. That could be men, women, children. And this is a scale-up project. We have been doing this here locally in the Jain Center of or not the Jain Center, but locally in Southern California for the last about 4 years now. Since May 2020, we've fed about 350,000 people so far, locally here in LA. And we want to scale this project up. We haven't found any Jain centers that are willing to take this project on because it is a very hands-on, requiring a small team of people, of leaders who can carry this project forward, plan, execute, find volunteers, find funding. And so I think that's a roadblock that we have found. And we have made some progress locally here in the LA area in different centers, not in the Jain Center, but in other facilities. We have found kitchens and been able to cook in. This year, we've actually cooked in 3 different kitchens here locally in LA, and all have been a great experience. But unfortunately, the Jain Center locally hasn't taken it on themselves to move this project forward. We've done it multiple times at the Jain Center, but we didn't find any kind of enthusiasm to take this project on. They have the facility, they have the volunteers, they have everything that we would need, the equipment and everything. So that's a possibility, but we're also looking for other Jain centers around the country where we could take this system, essentially have a whole system of how we can make 50 meals, 100 meals, 200 meals, 500 meals, or even 800 meals at a time, package it and find outlets where we could, other organizations that would come to the Jain Center, pick it up, and then go out into the street and distribute. That's been our system, our model, and we can kind of take this and replicate it in any Jain Center around the country. The thing is, we're not we can't be there in person at the Jain Center all the time, maybe the first few times. And so it would take at least one, or if not, then a couple leaders locally that could move this project forward. So that's the challenge we're facing.
Thank you. And team champions, you see that there are some projects which work really well and some which are challenged. And I know Varun Bhai has been working dedicated to doing this. And so if you guys can help out through your center, that would be awesome and to do it. Any suggestions, ideas, questions for Varun Bhai? So great. And I'm just going to take a minute. I know that Yogan Bhai was going to share the video, but I've got it on the screen right now. But just here's the website. But then I just...
Of the 6 billion people on this earth, Jains are just a drop in the bucket. In India, Jainism is known for fasting and avoiding onions and potatoes. In the US and the rest of the world, no one even knows what Jainism is. Unfortunately, Jains have not shared their treasured principles with others. Imagine if we had shared our 3 core principles: ahimsa, anekantvad, and aparigraha.
Great. So that's just the intro to the video and content that they were talking about. It's Pallavi Ben is here. I know a lot of people from the Boston Center have put a lot of work in. Great. I'm going to skip right next one to Jaina Ben. So Jaina Ben, your project on green culture.
Yes, thank you, Manoj Bhai. If I can share my...
Yep. You should be able to share. Yeah.
Yeah. Put that up. Okay. Is it visible? And am I audible? Can you hear me, Manoj Bhai?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so my project is green culture, and as Manoj Bhai was explaining, this project is more scalable. We are working with Jain Center of Southern California at this point, and keeping the record of all the research and all the work we are doing. And so, if any other center wants to take over or they start a project in their place, then our research work can help them. The background on our is that excessive waste has become a growing problem. We all know, and we all want to make our world, our earth, better than what we had brought it in. We are worried about our next generation, our next, what are we using it up? How are they going to replace it? So we're teaching, we're all learning together how to make it green culture. We're starting at the JCSC for that. So far, what we have done, our main idea is to do the recycling and repurposing. One of the best thing that happened since September of 2024, JCSC is no longer serving the Pathshala lunch in any paper goods. And on an average, we serve 800 meals every Pathshala. So in 4 months, about 6,000 meals has been served in a stainless steel plates. And that's one of the biggest landfill that we were contributing to that we are not anymore. And moving forward, I don't even know how many will be because however many years that we will be doing this. So, and the best part about that additional benefit we got out of that, the community cohesion, every single person, every age group, they are all very excited about this. It's just that we became a limit. Everybody had it in their mind that they want to do it, but such a huge project, how do we start it? And for some reason, when we initiated it, everybody was on board. So the community building was one of the biggest benefit we got out of that. And of course, reducing Jiv Hatya, because the garbage that we collected after every Pathshala meal was not getting picked up for 2 more days. And the insects, and including the rats and everything that was collecting at the garbage place, that we are able to now not have that. So great progress on that one. The second second thing we did after that was recycling project. And in December, we did that about 90 different people, 40 different people brought 90 different projects, how they can recycle or repurpose some of the things that either they would have thrown in the garbage. But the best part about that also that during that, about 200 visitors came to see it, but almost every single one who came, they were all excited that, hey, we can do this, or we are already doing this. And the best is that we are learning from each other. So that our next project or next exhibition, when we do, we're planning sometimes in April, we will probably have about 500 to 700 different projects to share. And these are just a few pictures out of this. The one on the right is somebody created a temple that's made out of Amazon cardbox. So recycling that. This is an old sari that somebody created a wall piece that can be decorated. And during the Derasar program, we can do the whole decorative things out of the recycled material. And that's what our initiative is right now for MJK program. Hopefully we will do everything from the recycling project.
Just one more minute. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
One more minute.
Oh, okay. The third project we are doing is making blankets for 100 blankets. We're going to be serving it to the wheelchair patients, and that's going to be ongoing projects. And our Pachala kids have already started making a website, so everything that we are doing will be recorded on the website, and ideas that some other places, not just our Jain Center, but the Jain Center can also start it. So that would be a great progress. And then we are also making murals out of the recycled cans, and also going to be working towards the next project is going to be organic growing and learning from how to eat our not to buy products from outside or from out of state or out of countries. And that's where we are working on the next project that will be sometimes in April or May.
Excellent.
So far, we don't have any problems. We don't have any roadblocks. Just with the with the LA fire, our work has kind of shifted towards helping the donations and all that, but we'll get back to it in March or end of February. We'll get back to this one.
Okay.
And thank you everybody at LRP, and we thank Jain Center of Southern California for tremendous help and support.
Great, good. Any comments or questions for Jainaben? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I think we have is Tushar Shah from Atlanta here. I'm not sure. I haven't seen him. Yeah, maybe if so, let us know. Otherwise, we go to Meenakshi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jain,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, go ahead.
Vitika can upload the please.
In your 5 minutes start now. Yeah.
So just a second.
And you can start talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see Tushar Bhai also here.
Tushar has come in. Go ahead, Meenakshi, you finish, and then
Okay.
Tushar will have yours. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Okay, as I represent the Jain Center of Southern California. I'm the art ambassador for Color Circle, which is a community-based art platform which offers a spectrum of arts to connect within the community and to manifest Jain virtues. Everyone doesn't necessarily fit into the old mold of learning Jainist philosophy through auditory means only. So we needed to expand our horizon to different modalities of interesting to instigate learning more about the Jain studies. So now, we have been in a subchapter for Jain Center for the last 6 years. And we recently started a chorus program, which is a year old now. And we thought we'll be able to scale this to different centers. And so to design, this was to learn the sutras and sutis in an organized lyrical form with proper decorum and make learning Jain philosophy much more easier with the rhythm and in an organized structure from the West. Next slide, please. So in our team, we have the maestro. It's a hybrid thing from India and from here. So our maestro is Dr. Kumar Chatterjee. He is a Padma Bhushan from India. We have our locally trained coaches, Deep Sangvi, Kritika Shah, Amisha, and Ashok Shah. And we have graphic artists who are working with us to do the video promotions and all that, and the flyers and all that. Our AV team is also helping us because we are hybrid, so we need Zoom technical problems also sometimes occur, but they are helpful with that. And we have a liaison, Nupur Jain, who's helping us coordinate this, and myself who work on this. The Peace Choir, we should represent the Peace Choir, and we should get organized by ourselves and represent Jain religion in the world religions, you know. And the problem which we faced was getting to reach the Jain centers, and they are always very skeptical if there'll be any expenses involved. And we tell them it's volunteer based, and you need your own trained coaches, and most of the time the big centers can do that. We tried approaching the Northern California president, wouldn't even respond to us, which I had told, and we tried to let our GLF representative, our Jaina leader know, our representative, but there was no resolvement on that. So now we have come to another idea. So the key, we started offering then to the San Diego Sun, which is in the commuting distance. So we thought we could approach them, and they can use our own resources. So we were able to approach them. They were able to circulate, which happened last weekend, and they are really willing to because I told them this is our leadership project and we are trying to extend it, and they were very receptive with that. And Vipul Bhai was really helpful in circulating, even though it was a last minute thing. And then I would like to suggest, to extend it to the Chicago Sun, the current host city. Although we are far, we can extend this to bring it on the Jaina platform for the invocation ceremony. For the main invocation ceremony, they can form their own group of people, and then we can arrange it with Kumar Bhai, and we can start from the very first month, like February, March. They can do it online, and they can coordinate. I'm sure Chicago Sun has their own trained coaches also who are classically trained, and they can take the cues from Kumar Bhai.
Okay, great. One more minute.
Okay. And so then this is the thing, if they can get their direct help with them, and towards the end in June, Kumar Bhai can come, and he can fine tune the whole chorus and be ready for the Jaina convention. And that would be a great showcasing of chorus, and get more sung to get interested in it. And this is the timeline, tentative timeline.
Great. And I think this is an innovative idea of, using a Jain chorus unique way. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions? If not, then we'll go to Dr. Tushar Shah and share us about your Jain short audio apps. Over to you.
Everyone, the idea that was proposed in the previous meetings was to create this short audio app. We call it Jivan, and that's the logo of it. If you can see my video sharing, we created a logo, and we have started creating short audios, and I wanted to play one of the audios that for the rest of the group to hear. So I'm going to play it. I'm not sure how well you can hear me, but if you can, then let me know.
Okay, great. So this was also a development project, as you've heard. It's either development, innovation, or scale up. and a set of activities being done. Go ahead.
All right. Can you all hear it?
No, we are not able to hear that, Tushar.
Oh, okay. Anyways, so basically the audios are initially we started on 24 Tirthankars short audios on that, and I've done about 5 of them. Now we have started adding stories to it, a story of Chanda Kaushik and then a story of Dhanasha. Vitika just shared the link to podcasts. So initially we started project on an app called Podbean that publishes all the podcasts. And now we have expanded into Apple Podcast, and I have applied for Spotify podcast as well. So hopefully soon we'll have all this audio on the Apple and Spotify. And so we'll expand the participants in that perspective. And I think most of the people that hear the audio, they have very good things to say and kind of comment about. The challenges I'm facing right now is to generate more and more content.
I'm gonna take a second and I'm gonna share the audio. I'm gonna see if it comes up as a sound share. It's because
Yes, we can hear the sound.
And the convoy carrying most of his possessions were robbed. He suddenly became very poor. He was very sad and disheartened, and he decided to take 100 gold coins that he had in the house and go abroad to make more money. The ship he was aboard got wrecked and sank.
Yeah, I think Manoj, thank you so much for that share. I think that does give some idea of what the content will sound like. And then this is a story of Dhanasar, who which I recently did audio on. So right now I'm trying to connect with more and more people from my song to kind of help me with content creation. We had the MOU signed, so I think we are working on kind of releasing the funds, and Vitika and Viralbai has helped me tremendously in this process. I think that as the content build up, I think more and more people would like to listen to it. I think the idea is to convey the basics of Jainism in most simplest form of it, simple language in English, so that a lot of kids could hear it and learn from it. I've been sharing it with my kids and they're enjoying it. I'm hoping that the other kids would learn from those audios as well. So I think the idea is to reach as many people as possible, from young kids to youth to elders and Jains and non-Jains to convey the message of Jainism and expand the content level in the app. So I think from the last time to now, we have the MOU signed, we have the logo created, we have shared or created Apple podcast and shared those audio. I'm trying to read the comments in between, so I'm sorry, I'm a little diverted. But anyways, we are trying to share this content through more easily available apps like Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, things like that. So right now they are available on the Apple Podcast, but I'm hoping that as we progress and create more content, we'll share it to other platforms as well. So I think the biggest challenge I have right now is content creation, and I think that we are adding at least 1 or 2 audio every other week and trying to create as much content. And the good thing about it is the content stays there. So as we continue to create more and more content about stories, about Tirthankars, about our principles and things like that, it stays there, and then people can listen to anything that they would like to hear. So that's the idea, and that's what we are doing right now.
Okay, wonderful. And I'm going to have Ellen go next as I'm just working on that. Thank you, Tushar. Wonderful job.
Oh, thanks, everyone. I will pass the mic over to my colleague, Stephen Havos, who will introduce our project, which is a planned conference at Emory University, hopefully in the spring of 2026. He has the PowerPoint, so.
I do. Let's see if I can share it here. Okay, 1 second. Let's keep out of that. Try sharing this again. There it is. Everyone can see that. All right. So yeah, as Ellen was saying, we've been discussing the need to have a workshop for the scholars who hold Jain Studies chairs. As some of the background for this, of course, as many of you know, there are quite a number of Jain Studies professorships and lectureships that have been established across the US, Canada, now several in Europe, one in Israel, and even in South Africa, as well as one that just popped up in Nepal. And this really represents a rapid growth for the academic study of Jain traditions over the last 10 years. And the field of Jain studies is now in a bit of transition with the retirements of some very senior leading scholars like John Court, Phyllis Granoff, and Jay Soni, and of course the sad demise of Paul Dundas just a few years ago. The field of Jain studies is sort of in danger of going its separate ways, right? The scholars who work on Jainism do so in quite a number of fields and disciplines, including history, philosophy, ethics, anthropology, literature, and also applied studies. And we believe that it's important for us to remain connected as a group of scholars and as a field. One of the other interesting things that has happened due to the very rapid growth of the endowed chairs is that many of the scholars who hold these positions are not actually scholars of Jainism. Some of them study Buddhism, some of them study Hinduism. They're very competent and good scholars. They know relevant languages like Sanskrit and Pali. And they're definitely an asset to our field as a whole. But they themselves are really looking for us who have expertise in sort of the history and practices of Jainism to help them develop their coursework, find ways to connect their research to the Jain traditions, and even to share some ideas about what kind of programming and outreach things that we can do as chairholders. And so with that, I'll hand this over to Ellen now, but she'll talk a little bit about what we're doing to think about this workshop.
Yes.
Ellen?
Go ahead, Ellen. Are you able to unmute? Stephen, you may have to continue.
All right, no worries.
I think she's...
Yeah, so Ellen and I have talked about this for a few months now of having a 2-day workshop hosted at Emory University, her university, for all the chairholders of these various positions, as well as some graduate students who are about to be out on the job market. So they'd be currently writing their dissertations and would be applying for jobs. And the idea for this 2-day conference is we would have 1 day for exchanging ideas about how we teach about Jainism in various ways, both sort of the basics of Jain Dharma, as well as how Jain principles and values are applied in different fields, things like food studies, environmental studies. My university just started a climate change studies program, and I'm really excited about working with them. And of course, the Love and Arms Animal Sanctuary is just up the road from us here. And so that would be sort of ways that we can share ideas about programming, what kinds of lectures, other kinds of outreach things are people doing that we might be able to borrow from one another. The second day would be devoted to helping scholars both find their feet with Jainism if they're not Jainism scholars with their current work and help them workshop some of their current research. As well as to sort of share our own works in progress. So people can start to see the diverse and different ways that Jainism can be studied, as well as the ways that we can connect how, say, I as a historian can really learn from people who work in philosophy, for instance.
About 1 more minute.
Okay. Our current next steps are to secure funding, mostly for travel grants for the scholars in need. Not every scholar who holds one of these chairs has a travel budget as part of their sort of annual compensation package. And so what we're looking for here is a kind of a seed grant. As all of you know, money begets money. And so once we get sort of a good start, we can sort of approach other donors to help us sort of round out the total cost for this. We're planning for spring 2026 to avoid both overlap with other professional conferences, which in our field tends to happen in the fall. And we're also looking for the participation of Jain community members, either from Jaina itself or others. So we're looking for co-sponsors. We're also looking for ways that we can sort of have an exchange about some of the challenges that our scholars are facing, working both with the institutional constraints, their own progress toward getting tenure, as well as working toward sort of better connection with their local communities. And of course, if you talk with anyone in the academic liaison committee, they're always looking for new people to get interested in being part of this engagement with scholarship and to sort of be a new generation of donors. So we think this might be a good chance for people to come and see what it is we do. And so, yeah, I'll leave it there, but that's sort of our plan for why we think this workshop would be a really important contribution to sort of keeping the field of Jain studies working together. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Ellen, did you want to add anything more? I think you were off for a little bit
Gosh,
there.
I'm so sorry. Of course, during our presentation, my internet kicked me out of Zoom. I
Oh, no.
assume, Steve, you presented brilliantly,
Yes.
but I do look forward to gathering with colleagues to discuss hopefully the future of the field. I think you said that we were planning on 2 days. The first day, teaching workshops, workshopping syllabi, etc., and then the second day, I don't want to repeat what you said. We'll work on our own research and workshop papers. I have several graduate students who need this mentorship, are looking forward to this conference. And I think Emory in Atlanta is a great place to have it, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, thanks, Steve. Sorry to not be part of that.
Thank you so much, Ellen. And I would agree, Emory is a wonderful place. I teach over there. So delighted to have the conference there. So now we'll have Dilip Pai and then Kinjal and Shefali and then Ketan will finish off. So over to you, Dilip Pai.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay.
Yes.
Can I say that?
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, go to the next page here. Okay, so the purpose of this particular project was to increase the readership of Jain Digest. Most of you probably know the Jain Digest used to
You
be
can
a
just
print
speak up a little louder, Dilip Pai,
Sure.
it would be better. Yes, please.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes,
Can you hear?
Better, yeah,
yes.
louder, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so what I was saying is that, yeah, Jain Digest used to be most like a print magazine until 2019, and we moved on to an online magazine. And then before we used to print about 15,000 magazines and send them to people and mail them to people. But since 2019, we have been doing this online using different platforms. So currently we use a platform called Issue. And so what we had seen in the last 3-4 years was that our readership was about 500 per week, and we wanted to increase that to about 700 within 6 months. So currently what we have, and so we had different plans as far as how to do it, reaching out to Jain centers and using more, Facebook and using the Jaina newsletter and so on. So the current progress right now, we have 9 Jain centers that have agreed to announce availability of Jain Digest via their communication channels, either through email or WhatsApp, whatever that they have. Basically, the magazine is published 3 times a week, 3 times a year, as most of you know, February, June, and October. So average readership per week for the last 10 weeks has actually dropped to 287, much lower than what we had expected. Right now, we are exploring how we can use AI tools to create audio version of the articles. And so that's something we'll kind of work at, because a lot of people probably would like to use or listen to it, something like a podcast rather than reading the article. So we're looking into that. We are also looking into how we can utilize paid Facebook ads and better social media exposure. We had that planned last time, but we were trying to see whether what we can do with Jaina Facebook it's only. And so we're going to explore that a little bit more. So here you see the kind of, so we started this project in May, and that was a week first. And then we succeeded to some extent, as you can see here in week 21, it had gone up to like 900 reads and all that. And since then, it has kind of dropped. And and I'll go into the reasons and so on. But what this shows you is that here, by going through Jain centers, publishing regularly in China newsletter, we were able to create some momentum and all that. Now, one of the things many of you may not know is that this magazine is published as a flip book, and it typically has about 17, 18 articles on different topics and so on. And what we realized that was announcing that once in 4 months doesn't really help. And we need to kind of keep telling people that about the individual article that might be interested. Now, the issue platform had allowed us to actually create web-based articles using the same article, but put it on their website and give us a link to that. So using that, we were able to create a lot more reads and all that. So now what is happening is the challenge we have now is that our ability to publish individual articles using the issue platform has been much more limited. Before, they used to tell us, they used to say, okay, these are your 50 pages. You can select as many pages you want, and they will create an article for us. And now they have changed this to only 2 pages, and then you can only start an even page. So only articles I could publish this way online were like something that starts on an even page and is only two pages long. So
about a minute more. Yeah, Dilip, a minute more.
Yeah. So that was the issue. Now, second thing that happened was during the past 12 weeks, we only had 2 announcements in the Jaina newsletter, which were on October 31st and November 22nd. So that kind of limited our exposure. Also, there was only 1 Facebook post was done as well. So right now we are also reaching out to other Jain center has been a lot more challenging. So now the risk still we have is the above challenges need to be addressed to reach our goal of reaching 700 people or more. So what we plan to do is explore other platforms to publish individual articles, something like medium.com. We will try to increase the number of Facebook posts, look into paid ads, discuss how we can improve the visibility and frequency of announcement with the Jaina newsletter team. So that's something we're planning to talk to them this month or next month. Reach out to more Jain centers, request them to put the Jain Digest logo on their homepage. This was an idea Manoj Bhai suggested to me yesterday. And so we will try that. And also we will assess how the audio version of the articles can help in reaching out to more people. So those are some of the ideas we have, and we will definitely like to have any other ideas people can suggest us to do this more efficiently and reach out to more people. Our content is global. A lot of interest we have from India and other countries as well. So people do consider this magazine as worthwhile reading. So we're reaching out to more people will be really helpful to us. So thank you. Thank you, Manoj.
Thank you so much, Dilip Bhai, and we're completely supportive of what you're doing. Wonderful, great work. And now we'll have Kinjal and then Shefali and then Ketan. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just,
Kinjal, yeah.
let me see if I can.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, perfect. Jai Jain, everybody. My name is Kinjal Mutha, and our project with LRP was to create a formal training program for Pathshala teachers in the United States. During, I think, our last Jain Leadership Forum, one of the issues that was raised was a survey done by some of YJK, Siddharth, and Garima, where they found that 90% of Pathshala teachers in the United States have not received any formal training, despite their strong interest they would like to receive, but they haven't, unfortunately. And 30% of them feel that they don't have adequate resources for the same. So our goal is to create a online training program for Pathshala teachers, which is a basic, and that would equip them to at least, because most Pathshala teachers, they begin teaching because their kids are in Pathshalas. So they themselves have no knowledge or very basic knowledge of Jainism. So when they come here, they are not unable to teach the kids or answer any questions or provide a well-enhanced perspective on Jainism. So some of the, I guess, the key components of a training program will include interactive slides, videos, and expert-led pre-recorded talks. It's more like an online training program you take through your company or any other medium. We'll also have quizzes after every topic and then have a comprehensive assessment at the end. We envision this to be a 3 to 4 hour long training program. You can take it in pieces or all together. At the end, we plan to provide an official certification that gives like a recognition saying, hey, you went through this basic training program. You're equipped to be at least a Pathshala teacher on a basic level at any Jain center. And our goal is to expand this at least from 100 to 300 Pathshala teachers in the beginning and see where we can go from there. Currently, we are in the process of developing a secular curriculum. It's very important to us. This meets the needs of all Digambar, Shwetambar, and Stanakwasi, all the three communities. Topics like body and soul, which are common, the triple A's that we always talk about, the jewels of Jainism, the 5 Mahavrats, the basic principles of Jainism, etc. Some of these I've just listed here, but we are in the process of developing curriculum for each of these topics. The next step would be able to create teaching materials like PowerPoint presentations, videos combined with expert-led talks. So it'll be a brief overview of every topic. And then at the end, we'll have a kind of a digital lesson where they're able to go through it, maybe 30 minutes per topic, and then have a quiz at the end and certification. I think the challenge in this case was to create a curriculum that meets the requirements of all sects. And at the same time, this project relies heavily on technological resources, since we need an online platform that will allow us to upload all these, keep track of the points, the courses, where the attendee can come back and do it at the same time. They don't have to do it in one sitting. Also record their score and grade and have this certification. So that is also one of the challenges. I'll work with Vitika and Pragati about this. We've gone through various discussions.
Great.
And the plan is to have, since we are working on the curriculum, we should have a working draft in the next 6 months or so. And I plan to use Jain Society of Houston as a pilot center. Our society recently has passed, I think we're in the process of passing a resolution that requires minimum 3 hours of orientation training for every Pathshala teacher. So that will be part of our constitution very soon. So I think it's a perfect place to start this program.
Great.
And thank you. If you have any questions.
Thank you so much. Great. Very good. And thank you for sharing all of that. Any comments or questions from the group?
We've done 10 hours of training last year for every single Pathshala teacher. That has been the requirement in Jain Center of Greater Boston. We will share all that material with you, and
That would be great.
good way to get
You
started.
guys are ideal, for every Jain center. I think Yogen Bhai, I have talked about you guys having continuing education credits for Pathshala teachers. That's the first I
Yes.
heard from you. So that's amazing. I wish every Jain center would do that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I think this is a project where we do a bit of development of it, but also the scale up. I think that's really, really good stuff. So wonderful. Now over to
Just had
Shefali.
one comment, Manish.
Yeah,
Just
please.
one comment I had. I've been a Pathshala teacher, and I agree. It's LA, and I agree totally that the teachers need training, but not only on Jain material as such, but how to teach is very, very important. And I myself learned a lot by getting that technique, how to make it interactive and more interesting, and how to get the kids engaged, because a lot of the
Agreed.
people had the knowledge but didn't know how to actually conduct the class.
Great.
So that's
Great.
important.
Agreed,
Okay.
Dilip Bhai. Yeah, that is also one of the topics that we will talk about. That is, we are taking that into consideration as well.
Yeah, wonderful.
Can we make it mandatory to take the childhood classes in the community college or something?
Yeah. Good.
We can, for now, we'll keep it, I guess, online, and then that can be an option too.
Okay, great. Over to you, Shefali and your team, continuing with the Pathshala theme.
Yeah. I- the
You're cutting in and out.
Hello,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
sorry. Audio is not working as well. Maybe just cut off the video and see if it improves a bit.
Okay.
Or someone else can speak on
Can
your
you hear
behalf.
me now? Can you hear me?
Much better. Yeah, go ahead.
So our background is create supplement books to Pathshala for missing topics in current Pathshala books. So we are working on that. So we are coming up with the very good additional material that we can provide to the Jain community. And our books are like very creatively designed and they're very pictorial. So it becomes very attractive for the viewers and the kids to really learn through it. And we have lots of activities which make it more interesting and fun. And our experience of 4 years of running the online Pathshala with this kind of curriculum is that kids love to come and they want to come to the Pathshala. They are really looking forward for it. We do not have to really push or do anything for that. So that is something I think is really nice, that we look forward, that they want to come by themselves. So that books are going to be like that, very like pictorial and like engaging with lots of activities. Yes, second slide. 80% work is completed. Remaining work will be completed most likely by March 15th, or we might extend to one more month, April 15th. So by then we will have one set of or two sets of books coming up very soon. Next. So the future milestone and the next steps will be to design the books as per our USA needs, and then train the teachers. Our training programs are already going on here in Pramanik, but now we will be training as per the different locations of the Jain centers, specifically keeping in mind that where the teachers should be locally available at the specific Jain centers that we are trying to target. Next. Finding good teachers who can teach the new topics, that is always a challenge. So we are working for it. And if anyone here, if you can provide us with some good teachers, and we'll be more than happy to have them on board with us. Next. So complete the design of the books by April to 2025. This is what is our target. Start using the books in Pathshala from next school year, 2025-2026. So this will start from 8/6 on these books.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much and great work, Shefali and team. All right, and then we finish off with Ketan. Ketan, over to you.
All right, cool. So this project is basically the gamified platform project. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So just as a refresher, this is the project is, can we significantly increase like consumption of Jain educational materials through like a gamification process, which means like if you get points and achieve statuses, do challenges, things like that. So this is inspired by stuff like if people have done Duolingo or Coursera or things like that. So in this, we'll just briefly talk about survey feedback, talk about the pilot overview and a quick demo, and then challenges and next steps. So a couple quick feedbacks that we got. So part of this kind of depends on like, would people read more Jain educational material? There is some disagreement and some, I think, resistance to, like, basically some schools of thought will discourage reading like source materials. And I think that's partly because of reason two, which is that reading that content without having a teacher properly guiding you can lead to misunderstanding. So people have some hesitations with having content presented to people without, a teacher kind of teaching that content. All right, so let's just quickly go through the demo. So ideally, this might be in an app with like specially designed interactive features, like Duolingo, if folks have heard of that. If not, Duolingo basically it teaches you different languages like Spanish or French or whatever, but has a lot of interesting features to kind of keep you engaged. Anyway, doing that is pretty costly and takes a long time. So to try to just prove or disprove the core idea, right now we're trying the kind of text message / chatbot approach. So let's kind of take a look at that. So starting off here, and the resolution here should improve. But anyway, so for example, imagine that basically on a nightly basis, you might get a text message from the system, and it starts off saying that, you only have such and such points up until the next rank or status or whatever, puts a Wordle in there that's kind of just so, not related to anything else. It's just a random challenge, just like the regular Wordle is. And then below that, you have kind of a passage. So in this one, the example is there's aspects of the karmic cycle, Astra Ban Samarnirja, Mithyatva Kshai. And then lastly, how can we apply this knowledge to our life? So in the last line is 2 passages left today, reply more for the next passage. So the point of this is to kind of get people to feel like, okay, I want to read, hopefully I want to read the next thing that's happening. Okay, let's skip ahead. Okay, so the user will type more, and then you will get the next passage. So, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, karma theory reminds us there's no escape from the consequences of our actions. So at the bottom of this kind of second message, you might get a multiple choice question, and you can reply to that question with, whatever your answer is. All through this process, you're acquiring, some points. Let's say you, I think the previous example was just like if you answer it incorrectly, then it'll just say, try again. If you answer correctly, then it should give you some points, and then it will show you like a little bit of a, completion. So the idea behind the, completion UI is that when a person sees this like 34% thing, we get this like tick in our brain that we want to get to 100%. And so kind of using little things like that to kind of incentivize the user to keep reading that next piece of material. So going back up, there was a Wordle. So let's say now at this point, the user wants to do the Wordle. So let's kind of go ahead and then, basically the user will try to figure out the Wordle. Let's say they figure out the Wordle. They can go back to the system and then, enter that answer back to the system, and they'll get a few more points. There was one more passage left. So now the user can, ask for that last passage, read a little bit more, answer another, multiple choice question. And then this would be kind of it for their interaction for today, or like today's session, I guess. So let's say they answer the question and get it correct. Then at this point, they will have reached that 8-point thing that we talked about earlier. So they get 100%, and then they might get this kind of visually appealing reward for all their effort today. So in this case, it's like, the elephant represents, so on and so forth. So these are just kind of some examples of like how to build those triggers in to keep people kind of involved and kind of keep them going to the next thing. Let's just quickly go to the next slide. So one challenge and then kind of one next step. So the main challenge right now is what kind of content makes sense in this kind of system. I was looking through a lot of passages from books, and that doesn't really make a ton of sense in terms of like text messages. Maybe text messages aren't the best approach. Maybe it would be better to just send people links to quizzes, and then if you fill out the quizzes, you can get points, and then the system will record that, and that would be more kind of educational course style. So there could be different ways to do it, but the point is to kind of reward the user with the more effort they make, and also create those little triggers in their mind to keep wanting to do the next thing. And then in terms of next steps, hoping to do kind of a pilot of this pretty soon, looking for about 50 participants. All that's needed is phone number, although prior to this, I think the pilot will still be sort of fleshed out in terms of content and approach, but looking to start it fairly soon. So
Just a minute more.
Pretty much it.
No,
I think
great.
I'm 1 minute early. So
wow. So super work, Ketan. I think there's a lot of potential of this. The LRP also has the Jain Way of Life and Jain Path books, which can be used as content. And we can talk a bit more about that. And you could gamify it for the convention too, and make it really exciting. And those pre-convention people could get a free, if they reach a certain level, their registration is discounted or something. So I really like it. I think this is really neat stuff that you got there. All right. Vitika will play a final video from Apurva Bhai. He was traveling, and then we'll finish up. I just want to make sure we're not missing anyone, and then we'll finish up for our sessions. There were a couple of them we skipped over because the folks weren't here, but there are multiple other projects that are going on. I will say, everyone, please keep the dates March 14th, 15th, 16th in mind. That's when the Leadership Summit is. And think about your project as to the next phase for 2025. We're going to close out 24. We'll start 25. Put your project in the new frame, or come up with an innovative project, or get someone else involved as well in a project. We have $5,000 worth of funding for those projects as well. So let's hear Apurva Bhai's project, and then we'll finish up with Namo Karma.
In India in Amritsar, visiting the Golden Temple. And first of all, I'd like to thank Manoj Bhai and Vitika and the whole team for the efforts that they have been putting in. And I think it's just amazing the progress that's been made so far. Our project is the Jaina branded donation boxes in the Jain centers. So the idea here is that we want to serve a need in the Indian community. What to do with old clothes that are still usable? Well, we want to help those in need by taking advantage, that can take advantage of these used items. In India, those things have a lot of value. For example, an old iPhone or some used blankets. All of those things have much more value oftentimes in the poorer communities in India than they would over here. So what we want to do is ultimately create a system where there would be recycling boxes inside of Jain centers where people could then drop off these items, and then ultimately through the project we would have the logistics and everything set up so that those items can be sent over to India and can be distributed to those in need. So that's the project. One of the aims is to basically start this in one Jain center and then expand it to 3. Try to go from no pounds of collected items to 75 pounds per month over a 6-month timeline. We have a bunch of folks on our team that are from the Austin Jain Sangh, where we would be sponsoring this project too initially, and then trying to expand it to Houston and Dallas after we get it in place in Austin. Now, we have faced some challenges, so unfortunately, not a lot of progress has been made to date. The challenges have been, as we presented this project to our local Sangh in Austin, had concerns about, would these boxes be there? Would people be just throwing stuff in there that was junk? Would it make a mess? If it wasn't something that was supervised? How do we manage to make sure that these boxes are moved out in a timely fashion so that they don't take up space in the center? These were all the kind of concerns which, our goal was to try to work through a lot of these logistics after the project was signed off, but the Sangh, before they want to sign off, wanted to work through some of these things. Well, we have addressed, I think, most of the issues with the Sangh. Unfortunately, the leadership in our Sangh to change. So through the election process and everything that typically happens in October and November in our Jain Sanghs, we went through that whole process, and now we have a new leadership team put in place, and so we want to re-engage with them to kind of get the sign off here before the end of February so that we can kick off this project. That is the current updated timeline that we're working towards, and we've addressed a lot of their concerns. For example, the concern of well, would there just be a box there and people would throw in junk sometimes, and so we decided to have certain days when the boxes would be available. There would be people there, volunteers who would be sitting there as items are coming in. If something wasn't good or usable at all, it was junk, then we would reject that and not accept that for the donation boxes. And then the idea is that whatever's collected, we would move it out of the center very quickly so that it wouldn't be taking up space, and then we'd have multiple of these days. So we addressed a lot of the concerns. We added more volunteers to the team. That was one of the concerns also for the local Sangh, that they wanted to make sure that more folks were involved in the project as well. So all of these concerns have been addressed, and I'll be working with the local Sangh to push this forward before the end of February, and hopefully we can kick it off. So I appreciate the opportunity here to give you a short update. I wish the update could have been much more, where we've already collected items and been sending them off and people would be using them. We're not there yet, but our plan is to get there as soon as possible. And so we are still working on being able to make this Jaina donation boxes a reality as soon as possible. So thank you again. And thank you for all the great work that all of the other project members have done, and all of the great work done by the leadership team of the Jaina LRF.
And thank you so much for taking time and being part of the